Hi everyone, my name is Brendan Houdek and I'm an instructor at New York Speech Coaching here in New York City. Welcome to another episode of Voice Breakdown, the show where we teach you how to imitate some of the most iconic voices. In today's episode, we'll be breaking down the voice of... Surprise! The Joker! Let me take this time to say that we read each and every one of your comments on our videos. You have been offering some fantastic suggestions of voices to break down, and I really hope we are able to do all of them at some point. This episode is really a result of you, the people, speaking out and demanding that I break down the Joker as voiced by Mark Hamill. This has been a highly requested voice by many of you. It is my joy to teach you how to imitate this truly iconic voice. Let's break this voice down. Component number 1, the vocal cords. The vocal cords are an incredibly important component for the Joker's voice. The first thing to note is how variable the coordinations of his vocal cords are. His pitch, how high or low his voice is, as well as his compression, how tight or loose his voice is, are all over the place. When doing the Joker's voice, you have to feel free to really play with these elements. When he is excited, about to laugh, or is angry, you will hear his voice raise in pitch and typically have higher levels of compression. When he is in a more somber mood, his pitch will drop. Sometimes, when he waxes philosophical, you will hear him decompress the vocal cords, causing it to sound a bit breathier and lighter. The most important thing to note about all this variation is that you cannot stay in one coordination for too long. Otherwise, it'll just sound boring. Where's the fun in that? There is also some vocal distortion that occurs. Sometimes, both in lower pitches and higher pitches, we will hear some vocal fry. The Batman. You can find this low, crackling sound by sliding your pitch downward until it naturally flips into this voice. In his upper range, we will hear what is referred to as airy epiglottic distortion. That sounds like wah! This is most noticeable in the highest pitched parts of his laugh. Component number 2, the larynx. Like the vocal cords, the larynx will also be pretty variable. In general, we want to keep it raised, as this will give him that brightness that we associate with his voice. It is not the Joker. It is the Joker. However, when he starts to use a lower pitched voice, we will hear his larynx descend as his voice becomes darker and more full. The most important time to use the low larynx is during certain moments of his laugh. Sometimes when Joker begins to laugh, he doesn't howl with laughter immediately. He will begin with some subtle laughing in lower pitches. The way to get this maniacal sound is to lower the larynx. Without lowering the larynx, it just sounds like a normal laugh. But if you lower it, you can sound much more devious at the beginning of the laugh and then progress to the higher and more manic portions of the laugh. Component number 3, the tongue. The tongue for the Joker is fairly simple. It will be slightly raised in the back to add the brightness. Tongue lowered, tongue raised. The tongue will also be important for how he articulates sounds. But more on that when we get to articulation. Component number 4, the soft palate. Joker's voice can get often bright and shrill. This is of course due to a combination of things. The pitch, the compression, distortion, the larynx height, but we also get some of that brightness from nasal resonance. This is not excessive nasal resonance like some of our other characters, but just a moderate amount. Make sure to feel a bit of vibration in the nasal cavity by lowering the soft palate. Component number 5, articulation. The Joker loves to be overly theatrical. We'll see this most in his prosody, but we also hear it in his articulation. His articulation is almost Shakespearean. He has excellent diction with a few key changes that stand out. First, we want to be sure to overpronounce our T sounds, especially at the ends of words. Most English speakers have a tendency to sometimes not allow the T sound at the ends of words and syllables to pop or have that plosive t quality. We would say that instead of that, or bat instead of bat. But Joker will be sure to overpronounce that t sound.
The Batman!
Additionally, the vowel a is a special vowel to listen for. Depending on your own dialect, that vowel is sometimes pronounced as a, but other times as air. This would be the difference between man and man, jazz and jazz, ask and ask. Joker almost always says the more proper and flat-sounding a. It is not Batman, but Batman. Lastly, his speech is often non-rhotic. This means that whenever there is an sound or a situation where a vowel is in front of the like air, r, or, and ear, Joker will drop the r quality.
Like a bat flying through the air.
Component number 6, prosody. This is also a crucial component for the Joker. His prosody is extremely variable.
One moment he is manic,
The next calm, the next romantic, then sad,
then furious, then overjoyed.
He is incredibly emotive. We want to make sure to have absolutely zero monotony. A simple way to think about trying to get his prosody just right is to imagine that you are overacting the most you possibly can. Don't just be happy, be ecstatic. Don't just be annoyed, be furious. But as soon as you get to that high level of emotion, be ready to immediately bounce over to a different emotion. Let's recap. Component number 1, the vocal cords. We want to vary the pitch and compression of the vocal cords depending on his mood. Be sure to go to extremes. Also, we sometimes use vocal fry or airy epiglottic distortion, also depending on his mood. Component number 2, the larynx. The larynx, like the vocal cords, is variable. Generally, it can be raised, but as he drops his pitch significantly or at the beginning of his laugh, be sure to lower the larynx. Component number 3, the tongue. We want to raise the tongue in the back slightly to aid in the brightness of Joker's voice. Component number 4, the soft palate. We want a touch of nasal resonance for the Joker, so lower the soft palate. Component number 5, articulation. Make sure to have overly explosive t sounds, use a instead of air, and drop the r's the majority of the time. Component number 6, prosody. Like the vocal cords and the larynx, let this be incredibly variable. Use your prosody to convey a wide variety of emotions that quickly transition from one to the other.
Thank you for watching New York Speech Coaching's Voice Breakdown Episode 17. Be sure to check out future episodes of Voice Breakdown, the show where we teach you how to imitate some of the most iconic voices. See you next time.